The Sony BRAVIA 9 had higher peak brightness potential than the Sony A95L, allowing the former to not only retain more specular highlight detail in bright elements graded up to 4000 nits, but also deliver more impactful HDR, therefore coming closer to matching the Sony HX3110 reference monitor. Another advantage of mini LED TVs such as the Sony BRAVIA 9 over OLED is full screen brightness, so naturally HDR scenes with a white background would look brighter, although the narrower viewing angles of the BRAVIA 9's VA-type LCD panel, even with viewing angle compensation filter, caused the outer sides of the screen to appear darker. It's not all one-way traffic in favor of mini LED though. The Sony BRAVIA 9 had to dim down the stars to maintain inky blacks in this opening scene from the 4K Blu-ray of The Force Awakens. And even so, the black floor would go up once there were sufficiently bright elements on screen. OLED's pixel-level light control also meant that there's no blooming artifacts around bright objects against a dark background, unlike the Sony BRAVIA 9, which is still limited by the number of local dimming zones. In most HDR content graded to 1000 nits, even with 1.85:1 aspect ratio which occupies more screen area, the Sony A95L didn't look obviously dimmer than the Sony BRAVIA 9. In fact, thanks to precise per-pixel illumination control and always-on dynamic tone mapping, the A95L QD-OLED was able to render small bright elements with more impact than the BRAVIA 9, whose local dimming algorithm had to balance things to keep blooming in check. QD-OLED has a wider BT2020 gamut coverage than the Sony BRAVIA 9, so brightly saturated colors would look better on the A95L. Although in certain scenes, the protective mechanism of QD-OLED would dim down these brightly saturated elements fairly quickly. And of course, the Sony BRAVIA 9 still held the upper hand in displaying large swathes of bright colors, since OLED is subject to more restrictive ABL. Subscribe for more HDR comparison videos like this.